certain basic certifications, basic trainings, anything that you think at an entry level people should look to do?
You have to have that EQ. You have to be able to have relationships with the folks that are bringing in the money, that are making the deals.
There are even certain ways in which you can figure out if you have the right mentality and the right personality to figure it out these days. So ultimately, the couple things that I would want to kind of start telling people if they were to break into the space is to understand if it's a space you actually want to get into. You have to have a certain mindset and a certain curiosity to want to get into this space, just because it's a space where you want to be able to support and help people, not only make sure that people are moving money the right way, people are moving whatever they need to the right way through the financial crime space. You need to have a strong attention to detail. You have to have a relentlessness to inquire, an interest of finding certain things out. I would say a very strong ethical judgment and an open mindset, just because ultimately there are a number of ways to be able to do this job the right way. There's a lot of ways to do it the wrong way, but be creative. There's a lot of different ways in which you could do it where you're not necessarily saying no, but you're figuring out the right way to say yes to somebody.
Absolutely. I don't believe that the word no should exist in a compliance officer's verbiage. Importantly, because unless you're the MLRO, there's exceptions there, but importantly, we don't own the risk. The risk is owned by senior management, and our job is to support them in an advisory capacity. And as you rightly said there, that requires a lot of emotional intelligence in terms of how do you present the discussion to the person that you're speaking to in a way that they're going to understand it. And I think the one thing that you maybe missed out there was having a thick skin, because this is not, it's not personal. You go into, and I think we're very, very passionate about what you do, but you hit the nail on the head there. It's a lot of people are attracted to this profession because they do see the dollar signs. They do see that it pays well. And don't get me wrong, it pays well because it's a very challenging role to be in terms of all of the skill sets that you need to basically perform within it. But what I would really like to hear your opinion on is talking specifically to that emotional intelligence part, which I think a lot of times we kind of forget about. When you're going into an organization, you're having to deal with different people in different parts of the business with different mindsets. And do you speak a lot with your clientele about those challenges? And it'd be interesting to hear maybe some of the feedback you've received as well in that regard.
You know what I've learned about what I've learned from people like you, Una, and others that have hit a certain, they're BSA officers or CCOs, they hit a certain peak, top of the pyramid when it comes to what they do in AML. What I learned is, yeah, they know how to be in the weeds when it comes to financial intelligence and SAR writing and all that stuff. What gets you to the highest of levels, and which it's a quality I think you need to cultivate as soon as possible if you're just starting out, is relationship management. Because when you get to that C level, that BSAO level, that MLRO level, it all comes down to the relationships you have with the business lines, because that's where the culture comes from, right? Like, you want the business lines to come to you because they bought into what you're doing. And the reason why they're buying into what you're doing is not because you're not a no person. You're a, hey, hold up, we can't do it that way. Let's figure out how to do it.
Yep.
Right? How do you do that as an analyst? That's something you have to cultivate. But to get to the top, you have to have, and let's call it EQ, right? You have to have that EQ. You have to be able to have relationships with the folks that are bringing in the money, that are making the deals.
Yeah.
And you have to have them. You have to have them buy into the compliance culture to make both building a big business well align with compliance.
Absolutely. Sorry, go ahead, Zach.
I was just going to also add to that, just that there are even certain ways in which you can figure out if you have the right mentality and the right personality to figure it out these days. There's a woman that I do a lot of work with named Sarah Beth Felix. Sarah Beth created a exam specifically through her company called HyperS, where it helps figure out if you have the right personality and if you have the right mentality and the ability to inquire the right way for this job, where it's fascinating, where we've been able to partner with her and partner with a couple of her clients just to help them promote this specific area, because if you have the right inquisitive mindset, you're going to make yourself a better financial crimes professional or a better compliance officer.